15 off.
Djokovic, a great returner. Why has he been able to feast on Ferrer's serve and actually force a very low first serve percentage from the Spaniard head-to-head?
Well, that's the thing, Chris, also, because he does return so well and get his rackets on so many returns that Ferrer feels like he's got to go for a little more on that first serve.
Also, Darren, I think that Ferrer feels like he can't just throw in a working serve, first serve and get away with it against Djokovic. He returns too well.
And Brady's exactly right.
30-15.
Even though he's primarily a baseliner or an attacking baseliner, he wants to make progress on that serve and beats a lot of guys up by making that first serve a few inches from the line. He's a good target server, but it's his first chance to get on top of the point and then control the point with the forehand. Against Novak, he doesn't get a great chance to do that. Found it really interesting also. Novak in the press conference came out and said a lot of things that we knew he would say about David's game. And he said that he's going to attack him early, be really aggressive, because he doesn't want Ferrer to control any of these points in the first set with his forehand.
Novak has been very aggressive at this tournament, almost from the start in every match.
(40-30). Game, Ferrer.
So Ferrer holds.
First game.
Two guys played a couple of times last year in Grand Slams. Last year at the Australian Open, it was a quarter-final match and tight couple of sets to start things off. 6-4, 7-6 to Novak Djokovic, and some great points from both players. Ferrer had a chance in the second set, but in the end it was Novak. Once he got those two sets under his belt, ran through the third set, 6-1. Good straight sets win there, and then of course the Open
won the first set. He got up to a great start there, but couldn't sustain that level.
A really good start. It was 6-2 in the first set, and this is one of those matches that was delayed, and they had to come back the next day and gave Novak a little bit of time to compose himself. Conditions were slightly different the next day, and he came back and won it fairly comfortably in the end. There was a little bit of a hiccup midway through the third set. That was his path through to the final.
The last win by Ferrer head-to-head was in London in the round-robin stage, indoors. Djokovic won all three. 2012 also a 2-6 win in Miami on the hard courts last spring. He had a major. It's 4-0. Twice here, twice in New York. Again, just for the loss of one set by Novak. The first set of last year's semi. Ferrer, 30 years old, making the most out of his 5'9" frame. He is really humble, understated, always self-deprecating, really doesn't think of himself as the #4 player in the world because of Nadal's prolonged injury allowed him to rise, and he'll be become the #4 player on the computer as of Monday. Once called himself, Darren, the worst top 10 player ever when he first kind of jumped into the top 10 a few years ago. I think he was.
He had to be
self-deprecating,
joking a little bit, but you know, he's earned everything that he's done.
40 love.
I believe that comment was when he first kind of muscled into the top 10, not when he's been firmly established in the top 5. But really, to make that next step, to challenge these guys, that's the giant hurdle that he faces. Be one of the big 4 in a major. To take nothing away from the win over Nadal at the Australian Open was when Rafa injured his knee famously very early in the match.
Yeah, to be honest, Chris, it's tough to see him milking any more out of the game that he has, because you feel like he's milked so much out of 5'9" frame and so much power, and he's trained incredibly hard. To see more improvement coming from his game, it's tough to see.
Out.
But a lot of tennis matches are won between the ears. Fight, determination, big heart, willingness to suffer on a tennis court, and this guy does it better than anyone.
He's an Ironman too, 41st consecutive major.
40.
Doesn't get hurt, just soldiers on, goes deep.
You do not see him do that too often either, to really attack a second serve. He's the type of guy that really likes to get the point started, so that's interesting to see so early in this match.
And sometimes he likes to drop back, but that wasn't a bad second serve that he jumped on. I think that surprised Novak.
Game.
Took a pretty good cut at that first serve as well. 1-all. Time to check out tonight's IBM Insights, targeting one statistic that a player has to reach to have a good chance of winning the set. If he can win more than 52% of those mid-length rallies, 4 to 9 balls, very, very good chance Djokovic will win the set.
97% chance?
He's going to win most of the shorter rallies. That's the explanation there. Chart that and let you know set by set how he does.
Seen more dead-let courts this year at this tournament. It's much, you know, net strap similar to Wimbledon now, Darren.
Yeah, it does seem like that. Not for you and I, Brad, in our match.
The net court wasn't the only thing dead out there.
Let first service.
So I made that point about Ferrer attacking that second serve, which was a little unusual to see him do that. That was only David's 4th return winner of the tournament.
I bet you Novak doesn't have a huge number either. He's not known to rip that for a winner.
That's Ferrer at his best. That short, hard inside-out forehand that sets up his whole game.
Loves that shot.
40 love.
Creates a little space and he hits it hard on the service line and then gets that second one.
(40-15).
Strong serving from Ferrer again. He stays in front opening set.
Ferrer leads 2-1.
Australian Open 2013 is presented by Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain from our perspective.
A major that has split men's semifinals. So 2 days off for the winner of this match before Sunday's final. Andy Murray and Roger Federer on this court 24 hours from now.
Other thing to consider as well about Ferrer,
15 off.
he's never the type of guy that will walk onto the court and feel like he's going to be intimidated and certainly give the guy a locker room start. But he's playing with house money. He was up against Nicolas Almagro, and the guy had served for the match 3 times, down a couple of sets to love. And it's always a little bit of a different feeling when you get out of one of those matches and you come back and play the next round. You can really feel like you can go after it.
Djokovic making Ferrer pay for backpedaling to hit forehand.
30 love.
The numbers just superb last year. 50 and 5 on a hard court.
It's one of Ferrer's big problems also, Chris, is that he can't play that shot that he loves to play, that one he runs around the back end and the inside out forehand as much against Novak, because he just leaves too much court open for that backhand down the line.
Yeah, the shot that Brad pointed out in the previous game, he hit it so well that Novak had to take the left hand off the racket, only play a one-handed backhand. You're doing well if you can make him do that.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, when you can hit down the lines, that's how you stop the guy from the inside out, and then you have to make him think about it more.
Let. First service. Game.
Wow.
Djokovic
fronts that serve and again closes it out with an ace 2-all.
2 games all.
Maybe also in the back of Novak's mind, and very rarely when you walk onto the court would you be thinking about this with Ferrer, but you might be thinking that Ferrer's a little tired from that 5-set match a couple of days ago as well. And no, Brad, you said that he's probably going to go after Ferrer's backhand, but I think you'll see him stretching him to the forehand quite a bit to go after those legs in the first set.
Well, Ferrer's done a good job so far. They haven't got into one backhand-to-backhand exchange.
Wait, please.
You can hear the effort from Ferrer's side. Had to play a lot of backhands at that point.
Yeah, that was the rally Brad was talking about, where Novak hit 5 or 6 balls to the same part of the court. Exactly what he said. You can see the time on court entering the quarterfinals. A couple of hours more there for Novak.
Yeah, but imagine out of those 13 hours, 5:02 in one round.
Yeah.
He bounced back well, dispatched Burdick with pretty good efficiency in the quarters. Now Djokovic beginning to dictate now. Ferrer being pushed back. He can run all day, but he doesn't want to have to.
15-13.
That one didn't find enough length in the court, and Djokovic just stepped in and pounded that.
That's early trouble for Ferrer. Kind of point we've seen so much from Novak in the last couple of years.
And he just looked over to his box, Chris. There's something behind his box that were holding up a couple of flags, and they were yelling during the point.
Yeah, I think it's the Serbians, exactly. He's
yeah,
just telling his box to tell the Serbians to be a little quieter between points.
Did you see that glare he just gave?
Yeah.
Yeah, Marion just told him to be quiet.
Second serve on double break point. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the kind of service break we've seen quite often between these two. It's Djokovic in front now, 3-2.
Djokovic leads 3-2.
The early break to the two-time defending champion.
Let. First service.
What can Ferrer do, Darren? I mean, he knows what's coming from Djokovic. He's seen it before. Does he have the weaponry to prevent it or make it tougher for him?
Yeah, firstly, Chris, going back to the US Open last year, I thought Ferrer really tried to come out of his shoes on his forehand and completely lost the timing on his forehand late in the third set and early in the fourth set. And I've never actually seen him hit his forehand so badly. And that's a direct result, whereas he was trying to make progress on every shot. You can't get into that against Novak.
I love that serve. That's the one that gives Ferrer trouble. You know, when you hit the high kicker, that's where he has trouble with that left hand, and then a beauty up the line.
If I was Ferrer, I'd treat it a little more like a clay court match and maybe drop back occasionally, throw in some higher balls, try to get it above the shoulder on Novak. If you just go toe-to-toe with him, it's going to be so tough because he doesn't have the firepower to get through him. Can work the angles and get around him occasionally, but to go through Novak is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, there's an example.
Yep.
Djokovic
Tried to over-muscle the forehand and is quickly 4-2. X Games asked. Dominant stretch for Djokovic, 12 of the last 13 points.
Darren, I mean, if you were in his box, what would you tell him? It seems to me Ferrer gets uneasy when he gets on the deuce side of the court. He's so much more comfortable on the ad side of the court, like hitting forehands. That's where the trouble starts. He presses.
Yeah.
Djokovic with the answer. He's on fire tonight. He is really hitting the ball beautifully.
He is dialed in.
15-0.
He knows Ferrer's game extremely well. Knows what he can and can't accomplish on a tennis court. And he knows exactly the game plan that he's come onto the court with.
And those points take more points out of you. Ferrer's running for his life on those points.
Small example there of trying to go around Novak instead of trying to go through him and working the angles and maybe working an air ball occasionally to try to get the ball high on Novak's backhand side. There's no real answer to play Novak, but to give him something different might be a good play tonight.
the approach that Wawrinka took against him a couple rounds ago, Darren. Another guy that had a very poor head-to-head. We're used to seeing Stan thump backhands, but he came out with a different approach, very aggressive approach, and grabbed a quick lead on Novak. Had him in trouble for the first 12 games of the match. Another overhit forehand.
40-30.
David, you think the different approach would not be what Wawrinka did? They actually did drop back.
The one
more.
Yeah, the big difference between those two players is Wawrinka's backhand down the line is enormous, and that's the one that's the most difficult one to defend and to stay in the point. Wawrinka was hitting that incredibly well.
You also can't get the pace on the serve or the pace on the shots that Stan hit.
No, I get it. My point was that Wawrinka did a few different wrinkles, a few things that Novak didn't expect.
Exactly.
You think David should do the same, not in the same way, obviously. But
You got to play your game, obviously, but you can just change things up a little bit to give, because Novak has come onto the court and he's played him enough now that he knows exactly what Ferrer is going to do. And we know that if they play the same way, it's 99% chance Novak will win. So do a little bit different. That's a great serve. And work the angles a little more, and work the height. Just even throw some balls down the middle of the court and take away the angle Novak likes to work with. Really don't want to see him try to overhit the forehand too much.
Shot up the line, getting Ferrer in trouble.
Yes.
See, like, Ferrer's a good mover, but he's just not long, like, on defending. Like, to me, Djokovic was able to defend, like, with his length on the one ball that Ferrer wasn't able to.
Just too good. That's different. You know, Ferrer would not normally come in behind that backhand, but I like that. That was a good play, and that reply from Novak was just too good.
And wicked shot dipped down low, and tough place to try to play a half volley from. Break point for a double break lead. And Djokovic now in complete command of the opening set. Well, they're supposed to shift again tomorrow. Much about cooler temperatures for the second semifinal.
Welcome to Melbourne.
Finals. Yeah.
4 seasons in one day.
I don't think the fans here would object if it got about 10 degrees cooler. Ah, the beer's flowing out there, Darren. Looks good. Djokovic serving for the set. Couldn't have imagined a better start for him.
Beautiful. Really comfortable on the court. This is Ferrer's return hit point at the US Open last year when they played in the semi-finals, and you can see how aggressive he is on the first serve and the second serve. Not much difference between the position he's taking, and today we've seen him be aggressive on a couple of second serve returns. I think that's a good play. Maybe even dropping back a little bit to give the ball a little more air on that return.
I actually think that Novak is serving much better than he was in New York. He's getting more juice on the serve.
You can see in those return hit points how much higher off the court the blue dots were the second serve. It gets up in that trouble area for Ferrer. at 5'9". That's about as well as he can hit a return, and then he loses up in the next ball.
You make a great point there, Chris. And Novak's not going for pace on that second serve. He's going for bounce. So he's giving it a little more air to get it high above the Ferrer's backhand. So there's really no stress when he steps up to hit that second serve.
Not much stress in this set, that's for sure. Triple set point.
Again, first set.
Again, Djokovic closes out a service game with an ace.
6 games in 2.
Looking very much like the world number one.
It's been a long time since I've been home. My kind of work keeps me on the road, and I'm not going down.
First point of the set underway. Djokovic, there's always two components to it. You got to take care of your own serve, which is problematic against the best returner around, and then Ferrer is going to have to somehow figure out a way to win a few points on Djokovic's serve. He won only 2 in the opening set. First things first. Failing that, Darren, he could come up with an injury and take a timeout and leave the court for 10 minutes to try to figure things out. I think he'd be the last one to do that, Ferrer. And I doubt that would help.
No.
Another dead net cord. Ferrer needs every break he can find out here.
30-15.
Start pressing on the serve, Ferrer, and this is what happens. You start to lose that direction on the first serve. You can see a lot of those balls and a couple of those yellow dots on the ad court would be aimed closer to the lines, but just losing as he's searching for those miles per hour. I think that happens on his serve and also his forehand. I think he has one of the most accurate forehands in the game, but he presses a little bit against Novak and loses that good direction.
Darren, also looked like there was way too many dots that were body serves. He doesn't serve big enough to make any progression on body serves.
That's right. First point of this game, they had that long extended rally, and Ferrer wanted to come into net 3 or 4 times in that rally and stopped himself from doing it because of the speed and the respect for the passing shots of Novak, and did that again there. He made that move like he was going to come in. This guy's tough to come into the net against. Well played.
Again, Ferrer.
Talked last night about the all-time winning percentage in all matches when you win the first set. Djokovic just behind the all-time leader in that category, Bjorn Borg. There are 5 active players among the top 10, including Del Potro, Murray just behind Coach Lendl, who's just behind Roger Federer. But Djokovic in majors, 120-4 when he takes the first set.
And I think that says something about the current generation, or the generation we're in here with these top 4 players, that all 4 of those guys are there in the top 10.
Dr. Leo Levin is with us here, was also theorizing that because the game's become more physical, more of a baseline game, coming from behind is even harder against one of the great players than it used to be, because you spend so much energy typically in a set. You fall behind, it can break your spirit. We are definitely in a golden era, that's for sure. And for guys like Ferrer, it's tough. Djokovic just freeing up, swinging big now.
15 off.
Do you recall the head-to-head in Budapest on the clay back in 2004? Do you have a total recall of that
Memory is
match?
pretty good, Chris. No, not that good.
That's the only time Ferrer came back against Novak after losing the first set. Novak could have been very young.
Ferrer challenge the call on
I
the
don't know
right.
we can find much relevance for a 2004 match on clay tonight.
No.
There's a challenge. Missed by a millimeter.
30 love. Ferrer has 2 challenges remaining. Late. Second service. Love. Game, Djokovic.
It's the 3rd game that he's closed out with an ace. He won another game on an unreturned serve.
1 game more.
Still dropped his 2 points on serve. Thursday night, Big Ten and Pac-12 college hoops action at 7 o'clock. Purdue, Michigan at 9 on ESPN2. UCLA and Arizona. Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. You see the #1 ranked Dukies got
destroyed
by Miami.
The Hurricane. They were up by 30 early in the second half. I thought it was like a score. It was wrong.
It was right. This #1 appears to be on his way to a different result.
I mean, you couldn't have drawn that play up any better on a chalkboard. Every shot hurt Ferrer more.
Surgical all the way he goes about it. In fact, he could have taken that forehand down the line 1 shot earlier and decided to stretch Ferrer again out wide to the forehand.
But the first serve points won, not even reaching 60 when he gets the first in.
This guy, though, will keep competing, and one of the things he's just hoping for is that Novak just slightly comes off his game or loses a little bit of concentration, and he has to be there and ready to pounce. See if he can just keep a lot of his concentration and holding these early service games and keep a little bit of scoreboard pressure in the second set.
A lot of opponents have felt that, right?
Yeah.
Just, can this guy please drop a couple levels? go for a shot right on
15-30.
the spot where the sideline and baseline meet.
It's very unusual when he hits that two-handed backhand, especially down the line. You know, his left hand comes off the racket. A little bit
He's got that
like
split grip on the backhand too, which is unusual.
Big gap between the left and the right hand.
I think what you said is spot on, Darren. I mean, Ferrer is better equipped than most opponents to try to pounce when Novak dips, but Novak's probably less likely to drop against this guy because he has so much respect for him and he knows what a competitor Ferrer is. So he'll guard against that kind of drop in concentration.
Absolutely.
That was so impressive last night from Federer at the beginning of every set. Just locked right in no matter how the previous set ended against Tsonga. He was right there focused at the beginning of each set, and Joe wasn't always.
And Roger hasn't always been great at that as well. Quite often when he wins a tight first set, you'll see that concentration level dip in the early games of the next set, give away a cheap break. But he's become better at that.
He had that much respect for Tsonga, not let the freight train get rolling. Big part of that match last night. And that's just ruthless. Brad said a little bit farther ahead every stroke in the rally. And the easy put away. Just get a few more of those. Ferrer's chances would be so much better of hanging in.
It makes a huge difference if he can start hitting his spots in that first serve. Just to give himself 1 or 2 free points every service game takes a lot of pressure off. That was a really good first serve, and that's the problem. It doesn't even matter if he hits it a couple of inches from the sideline. There's a good chance it's going to come back, and come back with interest.
Advantage Djokovic.
Now there's the break. This thing getting away from Ferrer. Djokovic beginning to roll even faster now.
Welcome back to the Australian Open 2013, presented by Franklin Templeton Investments.
And just what Ferrer didn't need against Djokovic. He's won 17 straight points unserved to get down an early break in the second. Novak called for some eye drops that were brought in the changeover. You could see him earlier having a problem with something in the eye. Maybe that's Ferrer's hope.
And
Spike the eye drops.
It came from his box, you know, it looked like it dropped it down the ball kit. And also Novak was having a little discussion with the umpire. You know, like it was hard to say what that was all about. Thank you. But the trainer definitely had the eye drops in the pocket.
It looks like he's seeing the ball okay to me.
Standing so far in the baseline there, and that's not really even going for that return of serve. Just trying to work that in the court. So I think you have to make your mind up. Either drop back a little bit and more of a working return, or if you're going to stand that close, go after that second serve.
I don't remember, Darren, one time where Ferrer's
Sets it
dropped
up.
back on a first serve or a second serve. He's kind of been committed to coming forward, and that's not working at this
not
point.
here, Brad. He did it quite a few times at the US Open on the juice court on the second serve, where he'd drop back and give himself a little more time to put some air under the forehand. I don't think that's a bad play.
No, but I'm saying he hasn't done it
Not
yet
here.
here.
Exactly.
Now these
40 off.
Djokovic service games are going by lightning speed now. 20 points in a row. Amazing to think that Stan Wawrinka broke this guy's serve 5 consecutive times after Novak wasn't broken in the first 3 rounds.
Game. Djokovic.
Look at the way
Djokovic
Novak
leads.
transitions from defense to offense. He does it so beautifully. Opens up a lot of court. Also, just watch the amount of activity with the feet with Ferrer compared to Novak. Novak just looks to be moving smoothly across the baseline. No real panic in any of his shots. But look at Ferrer. A lot of stress in the movement, a lot of effort in every ball that he hits. And Novak, a couple of steps to give himself a little bit of room. Ferrer, again, just moving and running. Easy volley to the open court. Now that's using the whole court.
This is a nightmare. It's just getting worse and worse for him there. I mean, he's pressing so much. 19 errors for David is already a really big number for him, trying to overhit so much.
Novak is great just to watch him. You know, forget watching the two players. Just watch the way Novak moves around the court, and he glides from side to side.
And Chris, the unbelievable number, obviously because Ferrer is a great mover, but 5 unforced errors from Djokovic, and when he's on a low total like that, he's almost unbeatable.
Ferrer's rushing as well, Brad.
See it on the court very much, but you're right, he is just really has to be frustrated inside. Great proud guy, but he is being thumped. 3 break points for a 4-1 lead.
Game. Djokovic. Djokovic leads 4-1.
Securing your family's future to achieving your children's tennis.
This is a night match. Can Djokovic finish off Ferrer before it actually gets dark, Darren, tonight?
You're in good form tonight.
No,
Chris Fowler. That's a fair point.
I mean, it's just breathtaking to watch him play like this. It's got to be a helpless feeling for Ferrer. I mean, he's gone down another break.
You might be able to go out there and join those guys for a beer or two soon.
He's lost 21 points in a row in Djokovic's serve. Or better put, Novak has won 21 in a row.
No, he's been outstanding.
How long can he keep the streak going? That's the only tension in this set.
But Darren, you're exactly right. This guy, you know, he makes you work to beat him, but I think it's happening so fast. He's kind of panicking and rushing and kind of, you know, just letting it happen. There's no grinding at the moment.
And there is the first lost point on his serve.
15-0.
In the last 22.
Actually, the first match of the year that Novak played was in that exhibition in Abu Dhabi. And these two guys played in the semi-finals. Ferrer, I believe, played a match before he played Novak in the semis. And Novak won that 6-love, 6-3. And that it was an exhibition, so it was supposed to be a little bit light-hearted, but Novak put a beating on him.
Light-hearted?
Yeah, well, you know, it's sort of serious.
Yeah, challenging the ball on the left.
But that's not a hit and giggle. I mean, those guys,
No.
they get appearance money, but they play to win that.
It's not for ranking points, so you do go out there and you play properly, but it's It's not 100%.
Second serve.
They usually give those guys like a pretty big bonus if you win the event. So I happen to see that on TV, and they were playing pretty full out.
They were, absolutely.
Challenge overturns the call of ace. Second serve.
I like that play. I would like to see more of that. Even if he misses it, it's at least sending a strong message to Novak that if you lay that second serve in, I'm going to have a crack at it. And I like the fact that he moved forward behind it as well. And also, Novak defeated Nicolas Almagro in that exhibition. Came back after losing the first set and won in 3 sets. And that was good tennis as well.
I mean, we know Ferrer is one of the fittest guys, but he definitely looks a little bit not as sharp with his movement tonight after that rough match in the day against Almagro.
That'd be understandable. 5 sets 2 days ago. What can you do? It's a great return. Djokovic dealt with
40-30.
And another forehand miss.
One of the big problems for Ferrer is the regulation shot from Novak. Just the meat and potatoes shot, the one we talk about that you just want to hit to make slight progress in every single shot. It's making big progress against Ferrer. So that means Novak's not stressed in any of these ground stroke rallies.
Goes on 5-1.
Djokovic leads.
Ferrer was disheveled there. He thought it was actually a changeover. The umpire had to tell him, you know, you got one more game here to go, buddy.
It's all getting blurry out there for him.
I mean, shoot, it was Novak getting the eye drops, but maybe a little smelling salts for Ferrer coming next.
He needs a cornerman. Yeah, check the scoreboard. It'll be 6-1 soon if he doesn't.
You do not see that very often. Just forget the score. No, it was only one game, buddy.
The smelling salts, huh?
Love 15.
I did it once. I called for smelling salts from the trainer. I was playing so bad.
Are you serious?
I did.
Did it help?
I did. I turned around the match and won it in 3. He just laughed at me.
Funniest training visit I ever saw was Andre at Wimbledon one year. Brought out Bill Norris after dropping the 3rd set. He was up 2 sets to love, and he looked at Bill and he said, "Bill, slap me." And Bill said, "What are you talking about? There's nothing. No, I just played such a bad set. Just slap me in the face and walk off. Just get me going." And Bill wouldn't do it.
I don't blame him.
$15-30. 30.
Boy, it feels like it was 45 minutes since Novak missed a forehand like that.
Couple loose points from Djokovic helps. Now Ferrer can sit down. Still in the second set. And Djokovic will serve forward at 5-2.
5 games to 2.
Eureka Tower, I'm told, if you go up to that observation deck, there's kind of a glass box you can look at Melbourne. And if you have a credential, it's free.
Okay.
Haven't tried that. Might be an off-day thing.
I have a lunch tomorrow with the Australian Davis Cup team celebrating the 1953 victory down at Kooyong.
Nice.
Yeah, excellent.
Golden anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
15
Who's on that team?
That's a really good question. That was 12 years before I was born.
You better study up before the lunch.
Well, I know Neil Fraser has thrown out the invitation to me, so I'm assuming Neil was on that team.
Well, I see Rocket sitting in the stands here. Maybe that's even before his time, huh?
I think.
Let second service.
What do you think Mr. Laver's observation would be of this first 2 sets from Novak?
I'm sure the Rocket would be impressed.
He's in California now, still able to come down most years to the tournament.
One of the great men.
You talked about what a thrill it was to sit in an arena in your home country named after you.
And he told us that last year here, didn't he?
Uh-huh.
$30-15.
Beautiful.
That's cool.
It is, isn't it? Beautiful and cruel.
40-15.
Took 5:02 to beat Stan Wawrinka a couple rounds ago. How about 1 hour and 2 minutes on the verge of a 2-set lead? He's set away from the final. Djokovic just ruthless, helpless feeling for Ferrer. 6-2, 6-2. To beat Ferrer, a man who won 76 matches on tour last year, one more than Djokovic, won 7 titles. The deserved number 4 in the computer, but you're seeing the enormous gap that exists between Djokovic, Murray, Federer, and would you say Nadal when healthy?
Yes.
And the rest of the world.
Yes.
Because this is one heck of a tennis player being crushed by the 2-time defending champion.
Thank you.
And he's best in show without the big 4 being there.
Love 15.
Which is pretty good to be the 5th best in the planet at this sport. But, you know, head to head, it's been a problem. Djokovic actually has 5 wins against, but again, none in a major.
I think all 5 wins against Andy Murray have come on clay, and I believe he beat him in the French Open quarterfinals last year to make it through to the semis. That was when Andy was going through those physical problems throughout that entire tournament.
Ferrer fans would say a win's a win, but he also does have a win over Nadal here when Nadal had the hurt knee. So not at all meant to discredit anything Ferrer has done. We have huge admiration for him, just to illustrate the greatness of the 4 guys who have dominated.
And I tell you, on the set, Chris, he kind of fidgeted in his bag. He looked at 3 different rackets, and he finally switched to a racket. And Djokovic, if you can see, he has 3 rackets out. He actually went back to an old restring job that he had played with.
Very few of those tonight. Ferrer actually did something last year that was rare with the 76 wins to lead the tour. Did it without finishing the year in the top 4. Last man to do that, to lead the tour in victories for a year but not be in the top 4. I asked that to my esteemed colleagues. You know you're going to get a curveball somewhere.
My buddy down there courtside might be one of those guys.
What can you do? He went back to work and tried to be solid, not overhit. Still can't find a way for Djokovic.
That's the best point that Ferrer's played.
34.
And he lost it.
And Chris, I might have been close in '89 on that stat.
Yeah, was it Brad? Because he played a lot of weeks.
The last guy. You were not the last guy if you did it. Break point to start the 3rd set the way he did early in each of the first 2. Oh, it's so frustrating, and Djokovic in no mood to let up. You guys
First game.
give up?
Yeah, give it to us.
Give me a year and then I'll get it.
I'm not going to give you the year,
okay.
but I could give you a hint. You both have a connection to this player. How can I give you a better hint than that?
Oh. Really?
Mr. Agassi, 1998. More tour wins than anybody, but did not finish the year in the top 4.
Yeah, because he won a bunch of tournaments that year. Didn't do that well in the slams.
I love it when I stump you guys.
Yeah, good call.
The 2.
He's the last guy
geniuses.
because he's sure Brad, because I think Brad in the.
No, but this is after that. This is 98. That's impressive.
Okay.
How many matches did he win that year?
I'd have to look that up.
And actually, Ferrer last year had a better win-loss percentage than what Murray did. Just those big results in the slam. and winning the gold medal at the Olympics, pushing him over the top.
There's
for that full
confirmation.
ranking. Yep, okay. Well, neither Brad or I were looking after him in '88, so you can be excused for that.
No,
98.
that was 98.
98. Sorry.
Yeah. And that year, Andre played maybe the most tournaments that he played, because that was kind of his comeback year. He played a ton of tournaments that year.
Well, then I blame Brad for that.
Andre will be here tomorrow, right?
Exactly.
See that.
Big credit here, though, to Ferrer for pushing this drop shot just in that position where it became uncomfortable for Novak right at the toes.
Yeah, Novak didn't think he would get that, and he just got too close to the ball. That was a great pickup. And this is a guy that gets everybody's serve back. I mean, he's just not reading Novak's serve.
Caught flat-footed again, Brad.
40-15.
You think Andy and Roger are watching this match?
Sure they are.
What do you think they're thinking?
Change the channel.
Game, Djokovic.
More than twice as many points now.
Djokovic leads.
Djokovic is Ferrer. That is a rout.
It's a little bit different for those guys, though, because they have different weapons that they can at least feel like they can get into it with against Novak. Roger has that slice backhand that can stay low, and he can mix up the pace, and he can get Novak a little bit uncomfortable on the baseline, then explode on a few forehands, and we've seen those guys play some great matches. And Andy knows that physically, toe-to-toe, he's happy to go with him.
What else could you do?
And Chris, either one of those guys that win tomorrow night just have so much more upside.
Oh, no, I wasn't suggesting that they were watching this. This is going to be a similar storyline. You want to check out how he's playing, and what you're seeing is pretty daunting because Ferrer is respected, and he looks like the 100th player in the world.
And those guys have the ability to put things in perspective pretty quickly as well. And don't be just worried about that match tomorrow night. Also, the big advantage that Novak's going to have now is a couple of days off before the final. So any of those, well, he doesn't look physically like he's anything but 100% tonight, but just gives him that extra day to freshen up.
That's outrageous.
Low 40.
Djokovic has done a lot of things, but he's never quite played a Grand Slam semifinal in this dominant a fashion.
Djokovic leads 3 games to 0.
You have to start
15 up.
scrambling to look for a more lopsided Grand Slam semifinal. Don't expect that tomorrow. Same time slot, 3:30 a.m. Eastern time. Again on ESPN. We've shifted the men's semis and both finals to ESPN.
Well, when we get to that match tomorrow night, Chris, the three guys that we expected to be the last three, you know, are the three guys that are there.
I'm going to get you guys' take on that match in the next few games because we're running out of time.
But Dan, I got to be honest, I've never seen Ferrer just being absolutely dominated. You know, Federer is the only one that's done it to him, but it's different. But he's just being dominated right now.
There was a semifinal here 23 years ago where only 4 games were surrendered. Djokovic sitting on that number right now, preparing to go 4-love in the third. This is threatening to become equally one-sided. Those were the two Swedes. Edberg 1-1 and 2 over Mats Wilander. Did miss that. No backward challenge. Yeah, I couldn't have missed that. It couldn't possibly be out the way I'm playing.
I think he missed it.
No, there's no way it could be out. It's got to be good the way he's playing. It's impossible.
Oh, of course.
Djokovic leads 4 games to 0.
So it is 4-love. Yeah, David probably not thinking about it, but he did get up against Rafa Roland Garros in the semis last year. That was 2-2-1 on Rafa's best surface. This is Djokovic's best surface. Right guy, wrong era, Darren.
Good winner there from Ferrer. Now let's take a look at the winner's placement from Novak. We missed 3 of them because we had this graphic done before the last game. So he hit 3 winners in the last game. But look at the winners to the forehand side. A lot of those down the middle of the court. And that's because he's just dragging Ferrer so wide on the backhand side. And a lot of these winners are coming and not really having to go for too much. Just working shots after opening up so much court.
And when he came out to start this game, he kind of shot his coach a look like, you know, what can I do?
Ferrer did?
Yeah, he did. It was kind of a look of resignation.
Can't blame him. Javier Pilas has been with David a long time.
13-15.
The entire camp has to feel for their guy. Would Almagro have been a tighter match if he hadn't gotten tight?
More dangerous.
Well, like Wawrinka, he has, you know, much dangerous weapons. Serve and can kill the one-handed backhand.
I think physically also after playing that match against Ferrer. Well, if he had racked it up in straight sets, he would have been okay. But yeah, definitely more dangerous with the weapons that he has.
Well, I'm saying if in the third set he'd served it out at 5-4 and come in fresh. So Ferrer gets on the board in the final set.
Djokovic leads 4 games to 1.
Let's look ahead to tomorrow's match, shall we? Murray, one of the few players active who has the head-to-head edge over Roger, but it was Federer 3-2 last year. Of course, they split the two monumental matches on grass. The Wimbledon title to Federer, the Olympic gold medal to Murray, and of course Murray and Djokovic breaking through at the U.S. Open. How do you guys see that match?
Well, going into all their previous matches at Slams, I've had Federer as a slight favorite in all of them. That's glorious stuff. He has to be enjoying this. This one, I think, between Murray and Federer, Chris, is truly a pick-em match, 50-50 match. It's tough to go either way.
I'll just go on the eye test of what I've seen this tournament. I mean, Murray hasn't been pushed at all. We saw Sharapova not push at all and lose, but I got Murray about a 3-point favorite.
Based on the guys he's played so far?
Just the way he's playing, the way he's serving.
It's hard to judge it, though, isn't it, Brad? I mean,
yeah,
Simone was a carcass out there. Chardy was a little satisfied to be in the quarters. He's playing well, I admit, but
you're right. He's going to need to step up.
Yeah.
I mean, because Roger's playing good, but how will he turn up after that rough 5-setter?
That's true. It's a good point. If I had to go to the betting window, I'd have Federer as a 1-point favorite. I think it's so close. There are so many different factors as well. The 5-set factor that Brad just said. Also the fact that Murray's never beaten Federer in a Grand Slam match. I know he won the Olympic gold medal.
just over Ferrer's head.
Well, Chris, we kind of had an ominous feeling that, you know, what we're seeing tonight is what we're going to see. I got a feeling we could be seeing 4 or 5 sets of a great match tomorrow night.
I agree.
The control with just the one hand on the backhand. The numbers are staggering. 7 points lost on serve the entire match against a quality returner.
Again, Djokovic.
The other big thing, Chris, is that Murray hasn't played a night match here at Rod Laver Arena. If he wants to hang on about 5 or 6 minutes, he might get a practice session in.
Did it last night.
He went across to Hisense.
Yeah. After his win over Chardy, he went over and hit it Knight. Coach Lendl not at all happy with this tournament that Murray was not given a chance to play in a night session. Federer, obviously the bigger draw, and had better opponents along the way, so those were the more attractive matches. Nice work. But there are reports that Lendl gave him the business, as a coach would do.
50-0.
Chris, I still can't believe the number you just said. 7 points in 11 service games to a guy that, you know, when we pull up the return stats, he's all over the top 3 in every stat.
Sachilov.
Ferrer turns and asks Pascal Maria if he saw it good, and he did.
So that big move backwards there as Novak lined up to hit that backhand, and that's because Novak's meat and potato shot's just been pushing him so far back, so that's what stopped him from having a chance at running down that drop shot. Incredible weight of shot tonight from Novak. Oh, now he's just having fun.
Only one guy's having fun.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
30.
You never see Novak play that drop shot from that position.
No, and Ferrer kind of a shrug there as he walked back. You don't like that?
Well, that's what I mean. He's enjoying himself out there, Novak. That's fine.
$40-30.
Challenge from Ferrer.
Ferrer challenge the call on the right near side. Ball was called out.
I didn't know if you meant enjoying himself. That was crossing the line to showing up Ferrer.
No problem with it. No.
It missed.
Yes. Ferrer has one challenge remaining. Advantage Djokovic.
Just like that. A match point for the final for Novak Djokovic. Putting himself in position to three-peat down under. Someone called out in the middle of the ball toss there. Dominant from the first ball to the last. For the loss of just 5 games to the number 4 seed, Djokovic overpowering his way into the final. It's hard to arrive in a final in better form than that.
And it's hard to see a better performance, a more impressive performance from Novak Djokovic. Incredible from the first game through to the last, and a good round of applause from David Ferrer. He's made the semi-finals of 3 of the last 4 that he's competed in.
He just needs a few upsets of the big guys to take that next step. It's pretty clear that the gap is significant. As solid and strong and tough as Ferrer is, that gap is big, and it was very evident tonight as Djokovic won 85 points, just 41 for Ferrer. And again, on serve, losing just 7 points the entire semifinal.
Incredibly physical Australian Open for Novak Djokovic.
Less than an hour and a half on the court. And then 2 nights off before the final. His 20th consecutive Australian Open win. Of course, the titles the last couple of years. Andre actually won it 3 straight times that he entered. He had to miss a year in 2002.
He lost a 5-set match to Morant.